Hello, hello everyone, and welcome to the Renew Your Mind podcast. I hope you've been having a great day, having a great week. I hope everything's been going well with you, as well as with your soul. Yes. So today was actually meant to be a recording with Ruby. So we was supposed to have her last week, but it didn't work out. Something happened. Same this week as well. I was rushing from work thinking, let's make it work, let's make it work. But you know what? I guess it's just not meant to be. And I thought to myself, why do I need someone? Like that sense of you want to give someone the opportunity to share their wisdom, and if it doesn't work out, then God knows what's best. So I'm also a woman of inestimable value. I also have some gems to drop, right? So I thought to myself, I'll just interview myself. I didn't really want to. I wanted to bring someone else on. But sometimes things like this is just to show you that there is value in yourself as well. So I'm going to be the guest for today. It's just unfortunate that there's some other recordings I made that have been scheduled. Well, anyways, it is what it is. So today, I was supposed to talk about gems and just kind of nuggets about being a young woman and figuring life out through childhood, through young adult years, and now in different phases of life. So I guess the thing that I was thinking of, I would like to start with the guests that come on, is to ask them kind of what books they are reading. And one of the things that inspired the title for today is I don't know if you can see, so Priced Above Rubies by the late Pastor Bimbo Odukoya. So I bought this book last year, and it talks about marriage and preparing yourself for marriage, but beyond that, what even stood out to me was the verse in Proverbs, I think, that talks about wisdom being priced above rubies. So I was like, okay, everything is kind of fitting well together. So I've actually not read the book, but I was like, I'll bring it here. So the book that I've actually been reading as part of things to renew my mind is The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. So this I have started reading. I'm just in chapter 1, I think, or chapter 2, I believe. What on earth am I here for? And this book I've had for the longest time, and I would read it here and there, but I decided this day that I really wanted to reread it again. I might not go through it in the same format that it's written in, but I'm going to get through most of it. And I think it's one of the books that really just solidified my young adult years as I was getting into the adulting life, so to speak. I really wanted to make sure that I was making the right steps, making the right decisions, and that I was setting myself up for success, and this book was one of those that, my dad, it was actually my dad's book. That's why it looks very tattered. It's my dad's book and I inherited it. Legacy. See, this is what I mean, building godly legacy. So my dad left me some gems, so now I'm gonna read through it and hopefully try and apply some of the lessons learned that stood out to me during my young adult years, and as I'm kind of wrapping up my 20s and looking forward to what is on the horizon, this would be really good for that. And then some other 2 books I want to highlight that I haven't started to read but I'm thinking about reading next is Smart Money Woman by Arise Ugu, and then A Conscious Life by Fumi Oyetunji. Yeah, so these 2 books are probably going to be my next reads, and they're by amazing women. One of them is about teaching through fiction, just how to be financially acute and how to be financially smart, make smart money decisions, as the name says. And then this is just about building a conscious life. So it talks about different aspects, your childhood years, talks about early career, professional development, and then settling down, picking the right life partner, and then beyond that, kind of rearing your children and becoming a grandparent, and then legacy. So those are different chapters of this book. So it's a really, really good one. So you see, just like with the purpose-driven life, the conscious life is also one of those books that you kind of read through the years. You can read through it in one go, but it's pretty much coming to the chapters that pertains to you and your particular life situation. All right, so it's really weird being the host and also the guest at the same time, but I'm gonna try and do this. So first question I had written was that I'll introduce myself to the audience. You guys already know me, but I'll do that. So my name is Morenike, aka Mo, and I recently started this podcast. I don't know how it's gonna look, but I'm just gonna do what I feel led to do with the resources I have. But it's the Renew Your Mind podcast. So the goal is to find ways, resources, connect with people that are going to help us to renew our mind, people that are either experts in certain fields or, maybe I learned certain things from them, and I'm open to suggestions as well. I am a blogger, I write, I work in the area of public health, community engagement, and just looking to increase health literacy and health equity by providing different communities with the right information, access to resources that can help them to make informed choices. That sounds like a mouthful, but I feel like that would be my ideal job. So that's kind of what my interests are in. All right, so going on to the next question. How were my childhood years like, and what impacted me to become the young woman that I am right now? Okay, it's hard being a guest. Oh wow. So my childhood years were very, very interesting. So I was born in Nigeria. I lived there for the first 8 years of my life, and it was an interesting childhood. I think I was kind of pampered to some extent. I wasn't one of those children that would play outside. My parents were like, nope, stay in the house, stay in the house. But I remember, I have little glimpses here and there of going to, the village, so to speak, where my parents were from, and seeing our family home. I have some glimpses of going to my uncle's house, because his house was very close to my primary school back then. I have glimpses of going to church and growing up in that arena. I think as a child I was very, not sensitive, but very much, I don't think emotional intelligence is the word, but I was just very aware of emotions. I could be very emotional, and sometimes, having Nigerian parents be like, what's wrong with you? And then having older siblings, obviously, they were like, pick yourself up, you don't allow anyone to walk all over you. And I had to learn that over the years. I think my childhood years was and the kind of family that I had was very important, that from that onset, they really saw that, okay, this might be a particular weakness for her. Let's kind of make sure it doesn't become a huge weakness. So I was glad for that. And then we migrated to the UK, which is where I spent most of my teen years, so growing up. And that was very interesting, obviously being in a new place, trying to learn, and make fun of my accent. I remember for the first week, I always tell everyone this, the first week when we migrated, I didn't speak at school at all because the kids were making fun of my accent, and I was just like, yeah, Yalin, I'm not going to let you make fun. I'm not going to give you material to use to tease me. Where I'm coming from. I'm like, the teasers are even worse than you. I was like, I'll just keep my mouth shut. But over time, I kind of found my niche, and I grew more confident in who I was, and I was very focused. I think that was the key thing. It was like, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to get the education I need. So I was very much like, okay, I need to succeed. I need to do this. I need to do that, So that really helped. And finding community, growing up in an inner city school where there was a lot of opportunity, to be honest. My school did a fantastic job. And I think God just really ordered my steps from primary school to the secondary school that I ended up going to. And I stayed sixth form in my school. So I feel like at every stage in time, God really ordered my steps. And obviously having older siblings who they won't even realize, but you're watching them, they kind of set the standard. So standard of things you should do and things you shouldn't do. And I think also just having that kind of innate sense of your person, of who you are. So I would say my childhood years made me into the kind of person I am, in the sense that I'm always for the small man. I'm always advocating for those that are less privileged, or those that, if you want to push someone to the side. I hate things like that. I'm very much like, let's involve everybody, very involved. I want everyone to feel involved. I want to feel a part of something. So I hate having exclusivity, you can't sit with us. What is that? So I think that kind of shaped me into the kind of person that I am right now. And then obviously the thirst for knowledge. My mom encouraged my reading. She would buy me books. So I see that now in the skills I have with being a writer and, all these other different things. So I think that has become such a part of my person. So some of those priceless gems are, when you have parents that see or kind of encourage a certain hobby or habit in you, that really does help, because you never know. Like, who would have thought that I would have been blogging for 8 years, or be have all these, be like, oh, you talk too much, whatever, right? And now, there's just little things here and there that you see that forms you. At the same time, when they make those comments, I feel like, with the help of the Holy Spirit, it helps you to refine it as well, right? Because when they made those things, I was like, I became more aware of, okay, talk when you need to speak, not all the time, always think you to talk, just when you have something of value to share, right? So, and yeah, and so on and so forth. I would translate myself. All right, so the next question is, I'd ask, so the person who's supposed to be the guest, so she's married, and I was going to ask her about and I think she married early, so I was going to ask her about kind of how she balanced finding herself and her identity in the midst of all that. Well, I'm not married yet. But how I foresee that happening, I think, looking back, especially when I was in secondary school, to some extent, I know a lot of people were dating then, and you feel like, oh my gosh, you're missing out. It's like, this and this. But I'm glad that never happened, because I think now the kind of woman I am and the mindset I have has been it's not being touched or not being polluted, right, by having someone pour into you, right, or kind of affect that. Like, I already am poured into by my friends and influenced to a certain extent by my friends. I can't now imagine having, a boyfriend or whatever to add to that, right? I mean, I guess it would have been the same way as a friend, but, I know I have an awareness of how my heart might be to romantic love. So I'm like, God knows. He really knows how to order these things. My advice, I guess, for someone, or if there are people that, in my life, or that are listening to this, watching this, that are married early, that I would think maybe some of the tips that they would have is that they just kind of found themselves, right? You know who you are from an early age. You are there's a difference between knowing who you are and also being confident in who you are, so that nobody can change or shake that or make you doubt yourself or question yourself or your self-worth or that kind of thing, right? So those are some of the things that are important. So when you have that foundation, then you just build it up on it with somebody else. Not that you're not trying to find yourself. And as women, we're always changing. We're always, I never thought I would be doing something like this, yet here I am, right? So the person that we are at different stages of our life changes. So you need to be someone who is on one end, being able to be comfortable with those changes and being able to communicate that change to somebody else, right? And number two, you're someone who, you're not like, I must be just one way, I'm stuck in my ways. No. You're willing to change, as well as with your partner as well, or your husband, or, when they are also changing and becoming, who God has made them to be in the different stages, how that looks differently, you're there to support them as well. So it's not just a take. You have to be able to give as well as to take, right? Take that support. So I guess, yes, the arena of relationships are there, and it's enriching. I love the community that I've built over the years. My friends, my wonderful friends who have come alongside me through different stages of life. You learn about yourself. You learn about yourself in different seasons, and this is just with just your friends that maybe are to there's a certain arm's length that they see. Even my friends I've lived with, right? And then there's that kind of intimate a friend is what a husband would be. That intimacy, level of intimacy where you have to be comfortable in your own space, be comfortable being your own person. You're able to see your flaws for who, like you can see it and say, okay, Morenike, I need to do better. You need to do better, and not beat yourself down, but trust and believe that, this is an area I need to work on and develop and grow in, and that's fine, right? We do that. So, yeah, there's that. And then I had some questions about career and trying to having to navigate professional life and what does that look like. And I think in my adult years I thought, oh yeah, my career is going to be this one thing, and I can dibble dabble here. Careers are very interesting, and the way it works, I think just knowing yourself to some extent. Everything comes boils down to your identity. That's why you need to find God early. Just find God. That's just it. When people say it, like I be like, okay, what else? But legit, I think everything really truly flows from that. When we know who God has made us to be, you're not moved, you're not perturbed by anything. So my career, if someone asks me now, like what I just described at the beginning of this, it's not like I thought of it. It's just through the years, through the experiences I've gone through just refining, sitting down, reflecting certain times, and thinking, okay, what would I like to do? How do I see myself? What are my strengths? And that was birth. And who knows, maybe a week from when this video comes out, it's gonna change, right? But I'm not moved or shaken. I trust that God knows where He's leading me to. I have some idea of where my strengths are, experiences as well has revealed to me my talents and my giftings. So career is the same thing, right? It's just an avenue for us to give back to the world, give back to our community, be able to earn, to take care of ourselves, of our loved ones, to build a legacy for our future, for our families, right? That's what a career is, honestly, right? A career is to have an impact on other people. A career is something that helps you to sustain yourself, to be able to live off of, and to be able to take care of your loved ones and your family and yourself. And a career is something that you hope to leave a lasting legacy with, right? So you're impacting your community, making an impact on the world, on your generation, and hopefully also, you're being financially remunerated. That's very, very key. So I see my career unraveling through the years, not unraveling, but just kind of coming together and building this beautiful tapestry of what it would look like. I think always ensuring that you're utilizing your skills. So for me, I found that things like volunteering, being exposed to volunteering early on. I'm a volunteer coordinator right now, by the way. I work in a long-term care facilities. I've always worked in healthcare, had interest in healthcare. But what I'm doing now, I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't even think it was a thing. I was like, volunteer coordinator. I hope they pay you. That's when I tell people, they're like, I hope they pay you. I hope I end up volunteering, but I love it. Some of my skills is beautifully utilized in the role that I do, so I enjoy that. And who knows further down the line what that would look like. And looking academically, I started off doing a program in rehab science because I was interested in the communication aspects and rehabilitating individuals back into good health and a good quality of life, whatever that looks like for them. And then transitioning into the area of public health, right? And specifically community engagement. So all of these things are kind of making sense. It's all intertwining together. So basically, the advice I would give is just start off with what are your strengths? What do you enjoy doing? What are your friends kind of mentioned? Oh, you're really good at this. Or even you yourself, when you have opportunities to serve, to give back to your community, what are those things that you really enjoy? Those things that bring your soul joy, right? That will give you some kind of inkling as to where your career should be, where you should be spending your time and your energy. And then the other people who are just professionally, they knew, I want to be a lawyer, accountant, engineer, doctor, all this wonderful, even social work, psychology. These are computer engineering. These are now professional programs that people can go into. Pharmacists, right? These are professional programs that people can go into. So you can go down that route, or you can go down the route of, you not necessarily take a professional program, but your steps are ordered. Things are just making sense. You're taking certifications, diplomas, doing this, doing that. That's another thing. Don't be a certification snob in the sense of, look at things that are going to help you get to where you need to get to. So if it's a certification you need to do, go do that over maybe taking a master's if it's not going to help you get to where you need to get to, right? So just being very smart and wise in the decisions that we take. So definitely. And then the last question was, what advice would you give a young woman who's trying to thrive in her career, pursue ministerial giftings, and desiring or already walking in assignment as a wife or mother? Now, that's a lot. But I would honestly say just trust God. That's what I'm doing. These are all things that I am doing right now or decide to do. So I'm really just trusting God and taking it one step at a time. And today's podcast episode, as I said, was priced above rubies. I've dropped so many nuggets, so books that you can go check out and read. I've given you 4 books already. This one, it's a really short book, so hopefully I can finish reading it very quick. But this woman, like her legacy, she just really, and there are people like that, like Bimbo Dekoya, like Winter Pitts. If you don't know, it's sad that these 2 ladies I mentioned have passed, but people that are still alive, like Priscilla Shira, Crystal Hurst, Crystal Evans Hurst, right? Who else do I? Joyce Mayer. These are wonderful, wonderful women that do amazing things in the industry and just beyond. DDK, yes, Debola Deji Kurumi. Go check her out if you don't know her. Tosin Sani. Who else? I'm trying to think of like some amazing women. Stephanie Ike Okafor. These are wonderful women doing amazing things, in the different various industries. This woman, oh my gosh, her name just slipped off she's in the Fountain of Life Church. Not Otukoya, but she knows her. I forgot her name. But she's amazing too. She has long black hair, white hair. I think in the finance industry. God, I can see her face. I just can't see her name. Anyways, so she's an amazing person to follow as well. So there's so many Jumoke, I don't know, like if I need to stop because I'm just going to keep recommending people. But no, these are such amazing women that do fantastic things. So my advice would be, find someone like-minded, someone that you relate with, someone you maybe the way their life looks is something similar to what you try to replicate, or someone that you really admire, and follow them, see the way they walk, but at the same time as they follow Christ. Christ is our anchor, he's our number one kind of compass, but these are human entities that we can look and see how they navigated life, how do they carry themselves. In Misioluwa, will I be like, it's literally not gonna stop. I need to find this woman. Like I really truly need to find her name. She's in the Fountain of Life Church. Her name is not Bumi, but even Pastor Tolu Ijogun Odukoya, I love her as well. But just the Pastor Ibukun Awoshika, I was not gonna stop until I got her. I was thinking Boomy. I don't know why Boomy was coming to my mind. But yeah, so these are some awesome women that you can follow and check out. So there's some priceless gems, even though Ruby was not here, but Mo was here. So there's some priceless gems with Mo. So that would be my advice. Just kind of follow with that and read, expand your mind. Don't limit yourself. This is Women's History Month, and the theme this month is Accelerate Action. I know sometimes as women, it can feel like we're so limited, right? All the questions asked about how do you become a career-driven woman, excel in ministry, and also you want to be a wife, you want to be a mother, that can sometimes seem oxymoronic. Like, how is it possible to do all of that? Seasons, from the women that I've heard and that they've asked this question, she could tell you that life happens in seasons. So being able to understand your seasons, see it, and know that God's going to work all things out. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to myself. Once again, the Renew Your Mind podcast is an opportunity for us to get information, get knowledge, to renew our minds, and to walk in what God's purpose is for us. I really hope you enjoy this, and I hope this is a wonderful, wonderful experience and nuggets-filled episode for all those that are able to watch. Thank you so much. Bye. Oh, and you can check me out on @musings_with_Mo. My email is musingswithmo@gmail.com if you would like to be featured or want to follow up with me in any way. So thank you for the opportunity. Bye.